In today's video, we are going to uncover the real reason why Khabib Nurmagomedov is in trouble with the Russian government. And trust me, you are going to be surprised, as these details have not been widely reported. It all started when Donald Trump named his favorite fighter Khabib Nurmagomedov, but his statement ended up causing some significant problems for Khabib.
No, I met Khabib though, and he was very, you're the man that can stop the war, because he's talking about the war with Ukraine and Russia.
Of course.
When Trump talks about that interaction, he's like, Khabib was talking about Russia and Ukraine. No, he wasn't. Khabib was clearly talking about ending the war in Palestine, ending the genocide in Palestine. He was talking about Russia, Ukraine. No, he wasn't.
So we're going to dive deep into how Trump's comment has put Khabib in a tough spot. Additionally, Colby Covington and Donald Trump are no longer friends. Well, Covington, known for his outspoken support of Trump, is now feeling betrayed by the former president's recent statements. And that's not all. We have a lot more intriguing news that I promise will be interesting. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Now, this week, in an unexpected twist during a live stream, Donald Trump named his favorite UFC fighter. To the surprise of many, he declared that his favorite UFC fighter in history is the Dagestan.
I know you're a UFC fan, right?
Yeah.
Who are like your favorite fighters?
Well, I think Khabib, how good is Khabib? Do you know who Khabib is? Khabib was 29, 28 and 0, and then his father died and he stopped. But I think he never lost, I don't think he ever lost a round. He fought many times, he never lost like a round. And I thought he was I got to meet him at a fight 2 fights ago, because I walk in with Dana. Sometimes I do this walk in. No, we get big applause. We walk in together.
It's crazy. You shut it down.
No, I met Khabib though, and he was very, you're the man that can stop the war, because he's talking about the war with Ukraine and Russia.
Of course.
Because he knows they're his people, on both sides, right? There's so many people dying in that war, and the whole culture is being destroyed. The cities are coming down, they're just pouring bombs in, and it was amazing. We weren't talking about fighting, we were talking about a different kind of fighting, a much worse kind of fighting. And he was very concerned about that whole thing, that war. He said, you can get it stopped, and I can get it stopped. I will have that stopped before I assume. I will. If I win the election, the first thing I'm going to do is get Putin and get Zelensky, I know them both very well, and get them to make a deal, because it's crazy.
It is.
It's crazy.
It is.
Now, this revelation sent shockwaves throughout the MMA community, leaving some fighters feeling slighted, more particularly Colby Covington. Welterweight contender Colby Covington, who is known for his outspoken support of Trump, must be particularly upset by this news. If you remember, for years, Chaos has been making a spectacle of his support for Trump, reading Trump's books in public, donning MAGA hats at press conferences, and even wearing clothing emblazoned with Trump's face. To be so openly devoted to Trump only to have his affections unreciprocated, well, that must feel like a slap in the face.
And he's tough. Good luck, champ. Thank you. Appreciate it, Mr. President. Thank you.
But as you know, this is also about politics. Trump named a fighter who has never lost. Colby Covington, however, is winless in his multiple attempts to become a UFC champion. Since 2020, he has a UFC record of 2-3. Consequently, no one wants to deal with losers. But the drama did not end with Covington. Conor McGregor was equally displeased with Trump's statement. Known for his sharp tongue and social media outbursts, McGregor took to Twitter to express his disdain. McGregor criticized Trump for choosing a retired fighter from Dagestan over American UFC stars. He continued his tirade by posting a photo captioned, "Trump's favorite fighter? Here he is in a tiny tub with his fellow inbred pals in Dagestan. Can you spot him? Where's Khabib? Find him."
Why does he hate Khabib so much? I mean, Donald Trump just goes off the cuff and says Khabib's his favorite fighter, which is hilarious.
Khabib, how good is Khabib?
I figured it would be, honestly, like a Conor McGregor, a showy flashman that has some fancy knockouts where it watches all these UFCs.
Conor off.
It set him off.
Why?
I mean, I don't know. That's why do you hate Khabib so much? Like, I know you got your ass beat, Conor, but let it go until Trump was going to lose the election because of it.
Oh, he did.
Well, yes, he did. I'm going to go find the tweet right now.
He did not say.
Absolutely. He said something like, the election is going to be very close. Campaign-ending decision, period.
No.
From the inbred mountains of Dagestan is your favorite UFC fighter. Wow. Abysmal.
But he just hates Khabib.
He hates him.
Controversial choice by Trump has certainly stirred the pot in the UFC community. Fighters like Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal, and Conor McGregor, who have actively supported Trump, now find themselves questioning their allegiance. For Covington, who has shaped much of his public persona around his support for Trump, this revelation is a particularly bitter pill to swallow. Donald Trump not only named his favorite fighter, but then also caused problems for Khabib with this statement. In a recent podcast with Logan Paul, Trump said that during his meeting with Khabib, he asked him to help end the war, not only in Palestine, but also in Ukraine.
You know, it's very interesting, though. So Khabib came up to me after the fight the other night, and he said to me, "Oh, I hope you can get in because we have to stop the wars. We have to stop the killing. He was so smart. He understood it.
When Trump talks about that interaction, he's like, Khabib was talking about Russia and Ukraine. No, he wasn't. Khabib was clearly talking about ending the war in Palestine, ending the genocide in Palestine. And Trump is knowingly going around on Mike's podcast, on Aiden's stream, saying he was talking about Russia, Ukraine. No, he wasn't.
50 times. Thank you, man. I don't know. I got a little girl I love, and I gotta see. I think this could be it. Well, if it.
This comment certainly did not please the Russian government, which is currently involved in the conflict in Ukraine. Trump's offhand comment has inadvertently thrust Khabib into a politically charged spotlight, complicating his relationship with the Russian government. Khabib Nurmagomedov, who is one of the most celebrated athletes in Russia, enjoyed a close relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin, particularly after his victory over Conor McGregor in what was deemed the most significant fight in UFC history. At the time, Khabib was a national hero. His fame and influence were peaking. However, his stance, or lack thereof, on the war in Ukraine has since put him in a precarious position. The Kremlin has been keen on leveraging Khabib's popularity and influence in Dagestan, a region where he is idolized, to help garner support for the Dagestani people. Dagestan has been particularly affected by the conflict, recording a high number of war casualties and experiencing substantial protests against mobilization efforts in the fall of 2022.
Не надо, никуда идем, никуда не идем. Что на месте? Не сдавай, а почему вы забираете нашу напали? На кого напали? Куда? На Россию сюда? Они не то, что Россия напала. Россия напала на Украину.
Given these circumstances, the Russian government was desperately seeking support from Khabib. However, for 2 years, Khabib has maintained a neutral public stance, neither endorsing nor condemning the conflict. Despite numerous requests from the Kremlin, including personal calls from the head of the presidential administration, Khabib has steadfastly refused to publicly support the war, and the Kremlin decided to take revenge on Khabib. When the terrorist attack happened in Dagestan, and it turned out that one of the attackers, Gazhamarad Kagorov, had trained in Khabib's club, the authorities had a reason to retaliate for everything. After the attack, where terrorists targeted a synagogue, resulting in the deaths of several police officers in a shootout and the killing of an Orthodox priest, the authorities found enough reason to blame Khabib. This was because one of the attackers had once trained in Khabib's gym. So as a result, Nurmagomedov faced severe repercussions. Immediately after the terrorist attack, the athlete's accounts were frozen. Khabib's gym and several other businesses were also targeted. Khabib himself is not in Russia, and these actions by the authorities likely sent a clear message that the searches were not accidental and that Khabib is facing some serious problems.
У нас был в 2021 году, и он прошел один тренировочный лагерь у нас в зале. Это он, когда перешел с вольной борьбы, перешел на смешанное единоборство, он у нас прошел в зале сбор. Это было, по-моему, пару месяцев он у нас находился.
But why didn't Nurmagomedov support the war? One of the reasons could be his family's connection with Ukraine. Khabib's father studied in Ukraine, and at least one of Khabib's uncles still lives there. Another uncle, Alex Nurmagomedov, is also a Ukrainian citizen. When he was young, Khabib fought in a Ukrainian club and took his first professional steps there. Before the war, he even visited Ukraine pretty often. So here, for example, is a post on Instagram that Khabib made on August 14th, 2014. He wrote, "I came to Ukraine to visit my relatives. In 2010 and 2011, I fought for a Ukrainian club and had 9 professional fights for them, spending a lot of time in training camps in the city of Poltava. My uncles have been living here for 30 years, and they have supported me in everything and created all the conditions so that I could train. Never forget your roots." Well, here you go, guys. Everything is now starting to fall into place. It is becoming clear why Khabib did not support the war in Ukraine, where his close loved ones live. How could he support the murders of his relatives or the bombing of his favorite places where he has been many times before and where his loved ones still reside? Money, it's not a problem. Even if he were to lose all of his money, he knows how to earn millions again. Just a single fight with Conor McGregor could easily restore his millionaire status. And it is no secret that Khabib Nurmagomedov's influence in the world of MMA is huge. Despite his retirement, his authority and fan base, well, those remain enormous. Recognizing this, the UFC has strategically decided to promote Khabib's cousin, Umar Nurmagomedov, as a way to keep Khabib's legacy alive within the sport. Jordan is convinced that Umar's rapid rise is partly due to his relationship with Khabib.
I know the UFC pushing him, he don't deserve the push like this, but he has a push because we all know why. He's Khabib's cousin and he's a good fighter. I have all the respect to him, but it's a little bit heartbroken when you see sometimes when you're working hard. I wasn't sure if I was getting title fight until 2 weeks ago. After I beat Jose Aldo, I was supposed to fight for the belt. After I beat Peter Yan, I was supposed to fight for the belt. After I beat Henry Cejudo, I wasn't sure, listen. Yeah, like, good luck to Umar, and yeah, he's a good fighter, but we'll see. I'm not excited for this fight because I know like he get here easy, he's a good fighter, but he get pushed. Yeah, it's like cheating a little bit, to get here, I have 12 fights in UFC. I beat like 7 or 8 ranked fighters, Umar not yet, he don't fought any ranked fighters yet, so that's...
As you know, Dana White has made several attempts to lure Khabib back into the octagon, but Khabib has remained unperturbed. Now, understanding the improbability of Khabib's return, the UFC has shifted its focus to now promoting Umar Nurmagomedov. First, it keeps the Nurmagomedov's name, which is synonymous in MMA. Second, it ensures that Khabib's massive fan base remains engaged with the organization, as these fans are likely to transfer their support to Umar. What do you guys think about all of this? I find it kind of interesting, but please go ahead and share your thoughts down in the comments below. That is all for today. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel because it is very important to us, and thank you all in advance.